Have you ever felt a place watching you? A coldness that seeps into your bones, a darkness that seems to have a heartbeat? That's what I felt stepping into the abandoned bazaar. We were just a bunch of teenagers, fueled by bravado and a thirst for adventure. But that night, adventure turned into chilling terror, and the bazaar became a place where whispers turned to screams. We were four. There was me, Sarah, the voice of reason, most of the time. Then there was Alex, the fearless leader, always pushing boundaries. There was Emily, the skeptic, needing proof for everything. And finally, there was Ben, the quiet one, always drawn to the mysterious. Rumors swirled about the bazaar, a once thriving marketplace, now a desolate shell, cursed after a fire ravaged it decades ago. Whispers spoke of shadows that flickered in the empty stalls, of voices carried on the cold night wind. Alex, fueled by the thrill of the unknown, insisted we explore. I, ever the cautious one, reluctantly agreed. Emily, of course, scoffed, calling it a childish prank. Ben, ever the enigma, said nothing, but his curious glint in the moonlight spoke volumes. The bazaar loomed before us, a skeletal silhouette against the pale moonlight. Broken stalls lined the dusty paths, their once vibrant colors faded to a haunting gray. An unsettling silence hung in the air, broken only by the occasional creak of a rotting board under our feet. Alex, ever the showman, led the way, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. As we ventured deeper, the air grew colder, a damp chill that sent shivers down my spine. Strange noises started, a rustle from a collapsed awning, a distant clatter that seemed to come from nowhere. Emily scoffed, but even she couldn't hide the tremor in her voice. The flickering lights were the most unsettling. One moment, a dusty bulb would cast a pale glow, illuminating a grotesque mask leering from a forgotten stall. The next, it would plunge us into an inky blackness, our fear amplified by the unseen. Each stall held a relic of the bazaar's forgotten past, chipped teacups, rusted tools, faded fabrics. But it felt like more than just abandoned merchandise. It felt like the remnants of lost souls, trapped within these decaying walls. Ben, usually silent, started muttering under his breath. He stopped at a stall unlike the others, its entrance draped in a thick crimson cloth. He reached towards it, a strange determination in his eyes. Alex, ever the impulsive one, yanked the cloth away. What we saw chilled us to the bone. A human skull, bleached white by time, sat atop a pile of dusty parchments. The parchments were covered in strange symbols that seemed to writhe and pulsate in the weak light. A sudden gust of wind howled through the bazaar, extinguishing all light. Panic flared. We scrambled for our phones, their flickering displays our only source of light. A blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. It was Emily, her voice filled with raw terror. Her phone clattered to the ground, its screen displaying a horrifying image. The skull from the stall, its empty sockets now glowing with an unnatural red light. We huddled together, our fear a tangible entity in the darkness. Then, the whispers started. They slithered from the shadows, voices speaking in a language that chilled our very souls. They spoke of vengeance, of a fire that consumed not just the bazaar, but the souls trapped within. Alex, his bravado finally shaken, started yelling defiance. But the whispers only grew louder, drowning out his words, weaving a tapestry of fear around us. Ben, his eyes wide with a strange mix of terror and fascination, stepped forward. He spoke in a low voice, reciting something from the parchments he had snatched from the skull's stall. The whispers faltered, a sense of surprise flickering amongst them. The red glow from the skull intensified, focusing on Ben. He continued chanting, his voice growing stronger with each word. The bazaar itself seemed to groan in protest. The wind howled with renewed fury, tearing at the fabric of reality around us. The whispers turned into screams, a cacophony of anguish and rage. Then, with a deafening crack, The skull exploded in a shower of red light. A stunned silence descended upon the bazaar. We stood there, panting, hearts hammering against our ribs. A strange sense of relief washed over us, a feeling we clung to desperately. But the relief was short-lived. As the red light faded, a figure materialized from the dust. It was tall and skeletal, its form a twisted mockery of a human. Its eyes, burning with the same unholy red light as the skull, locked onto Ben. "You have awakened me," the figure rasped, its voice a chorus of tortured whispers. "But you cannot contain me." A wave of pure terror crashed over me. Ben, realizing his mistake, screamed and tried to run, but it was too late. The figure lashed out, its skeletal hand extending into a grotesque claw. It pierced Ben's chest with a sickening crunch. Ben's scream died into a choked gurgle as the entity lifted him, its red eyes boring into ours. "Now!" it boomed, its voice echoing through the bazaar. "You will all pay." The remaining light from our phones sputtered and died, plunging us into complete darkness. We could hear the entity's rasping laughter, a sound that promised a fate worse than death. Then, screams ripped through the night. My own scream joined the chorus, a desperate plea lost in the suffocating darkness.